I'm not the Grim Reaper. This is a scythe. It's an amazing piece of technology. We, for a while, used an electric line trimmer. And I got the most durable one you can buy, which means the most expensive. And it worked for about 3 hours and then it completely failed. It burned itself up. So instead we went to the scythe. This is one we got for a few bucks at a yard sale. Got another couple of them that are new. And we can cover just as much ground with this scythe as we could with the weed whacker, with the line trimmer, just as quickly. The scythe is important not just for knocking down the weeds in the orchard, for example, as we'll see shortly, but also for aesthetic purposes. This entire area between here and that shed in the background used to be a driveway, a parking lot, essentially. A previous occupant here used this whole area for working on automobiles, changing the oil, that sort of thing. So it was in pretty bad shape. Just a few years ago, we started whacking down the weeds multiple times every summer, just leaving them intact, and what we got is this beautiful grassland. Now we have planted a few things. We planted the cactus that you see and a few of the woody plants, but the grassland itself all came back just from dormant seeds in the soil and seeds that blew in afterwards. Formerly, as an example, what this looked like out here was this, right here. We had a huge driveway that we converted into a beautiful grassland using very simple technology. This is a still for making distilled water. Built completely out of scrap materials. What we do is fill this box with water, rainwater specifically, that's already been distilled once by nature. Fill that with water. The inside is lined with high temperature black silicone. As you should be able to see here, a little water in there, high temperature black silicone, single pane of glass on top. It slopes down towards you and it also slopes down left to right. So there's a small trough in here, a tin trough cut out of roofing tin. The water condenses on the bottom of the glass, slides down, catches in that trough, comes out this copper tube, pours into this glass jar, at which point we have doubly distilled water for the PV solar batteries. This is a biochar kiln painted black with high temperature paint. We use the charcoal produced from the biochar kiln to amend the soils in the gardens. Up to 10% by volume, biochar profoundly increases the productivity of garden soils. In addition, we are taking CO2 out of the atmosphere before it gets into the atmosphere. So by converting last year's weeds into charcoal, we're locking up that carbon in the soil for the next 1,000 years or so, instead of allowing it to be released into the atmosphere next year in the form of carbon. The inner workings of the biochar kiln, we have inside of this larger steel container a 55-gallon drum, a metal 55-gallon drum. We fill that with the weeds or with anything we want to convert to charcoal. Put the lid on, put a big rock on that, fill up the donut around the 55-gallon drum and 6 inches on top with this wood over here. So this is just any scrap wood we have from pruning or from stealing wood from the adjacent property and so on. So this is just small diameter wood material. We pack it all around there. We set it on fire. There are holes in the bottom of the biochar kiln, which you can see now. That allows a draft. So the air comes up there, goes out the stack, and within about 1.5 minutes we have 600-degree temperatures in here. So that 600 degrees temperature makes inside the barrel very hot, but there's no oxygen getting in there, so all of last year's weeds are converted to charcoal while we burn a relatively small amount of this woody material, combusting it, producing wood ash, which is used for the composting toilets.